Welcome to our special coverage from Davos 2026. I have a very special guest with me. I have the IT Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Nara Lokesh, with me. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on Times Network. It's a pleasure having you on our network. We have been covering Davos extensively. What stands out in case of Andhra Pradesh is, Andhra Pradesh never indulges into announcing huge numbers or the number of MOUs or the value for the MOUs and all. But there are some very intense core B2B meetings. So this year, what's your experience at Davos?
No, I alone have had close to 40 one-on-one meetings. And in addition, of course, the Honorable Chief Minister is here, the Industries Minister is here. So together we're working very hard to sort of have conversations, number one. Number two, also understand the future sectors, if I may, the sunrise sectors. And how do we go about building ecosystems around that sector? So we are here in Davos to also learn. So if we go, we are part of various forums, we interact, we engage, and that's what Andhra gains at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. But don't you feel, because there are this year, in fact, the Indian contingent is one of the largest, with 10 states also participating apart from India Pavilion, and there was so much buzz when you enter the India Pavilion and even the state pavilions. Andhra quietly operates in one corner and does all those meetings. So, why is that approach?
Well, Andhra is in midst of all the hustle and bustle. I think we have the perfect real estate, if I can say that. No, but see, honestly, Mr. Naidu is the original Davos man, and he understands the value of Davos. And the brand that he carries requires a certain amount of space also to work, because a lot of people want to meet with him, meet the delegation, want to interact, start having conversations here. So therefore, we need this kind of space to actually do what we have to do. And then it's also a great opportunity, of course, to also present our story, the Andhra story. If you look at it, in the last 18 months, we made substantive progress. Close to 25% of investments have now come to Andhra. So Andhra is now here, and Andhra is back to doing business. So we need to position ourselves, position our stories, and of course, celebrate our success while we work on our failures.
Right. This year, what are your key takeaways? You attended quite a few sessions also inside the Congress at WEF. What are your key takeaways?
So I think more and more geopolitics has become uncertain, and during uncertain times, I think India has a great opportunity to rise, and this is India's time. One thing that everyone's been telling clearly, that India has a very strong leadership at the federal level, that's at central government level, and at the state level. People are very appreciative of our democracy, how robust and strong it is, and how the government is taking decisions, keeping the next 25-30 years in mind, and not just tomorrow or day after in mind. And this crisis is helping us. This geopolitical crisis is helping us emerge, take tough decisions, look at every regulation. And the world is really appreciative at the speed at which we are able to get things now done.
Mm-hmm. But, you're right that it's actually a great opportunity for India. I did, at least in my interactions, I did sense a bit of apprehension in terms of which way the trade war will swing, what will happen in terms of trade deal with US, what happens to H1B. You met so many leaders, you did more than 50 odd meetings. Did any of these issues surface in those meetings? Are people concerned, especially the global investors?
Surprisingly not. They're like, let's get started. What can we do? How's the state looking at building these ecosystems? And how can we ensure that whatever we do stands the test of time in politics? So that's been the approach. And in fact, if you look at it, aqua is very big in my state, right? And shrimp was one of the early commodities to be hit hard by tariffs. But then we re-looked at it. We said, okay, what's the entire value chain? We're competing with Ecuador. What is the differential in tariff? How do we go about ensuring that the companies and the farmers are not affected? So we as a state gave huge subsidy on power. And if other players in the value chain have started cutting back on their cost, making themselves more efficient so that we can pass this on. So we've done that entire reorganization, and that particular sector is growing like never before. So again, crisis is an opportunity, and I believe that India does always well when our backs are up against a wall.
That's true. This year, in fact, at Davos, one of the key, a couple of key areas or sectors, I would say, which are really buzzing. One is obviously artificial intelligence. The second is semiconductors. Third is the quantum. Fourth is, the manufacturing supply chain and the diversification of that. So what are your key takeaways in these areas, and what are going to be Andhra's priorities in these sectors?
See, honestly, all the sectors that you have just said are very important and core to our growth. But Andhra has now identified 22 areas to be very focused. So starting from even a glass city, a drone city, a space city, automotive city. We have an aqua city, the entire aquaculture ecosystem that's getting built. Compressed biogas ecosystem that's getting out. Medical devices manufacturing, pharma, steel. One of India's largest steel plant, the greenfield steel plant, is going to get built by ArcelorMittal. But what excites me is the tight vertical and horizontal integration. Now verticals, what do you mean by verticals? All the players of an ecosystem, how do we bring them into it? So it's not just about getting the glass manufacturer, but how do I get the guy who makes the equipment for the glass manufacturer? All in a 100-kilometer radius. Make this ecosystem to thrive. And then I look at the horizontal. Horizontal is where education comes in, skills come in, then testing facilities come in, certification facilities come in. That's the approach that we're taking. You'll be surprised to hear 50% of India's air conditioners are manufactured in my state. Wow. And with the 3 deals we've done, it'll be 70%. So I now need to work with them to, strengthen my ITIs, polytechnics, to get the blue-collar jobs and job ready when our kids graduate out of ITIs and polytechnics. So we are working very close with industry. Now think about this across 22 sectors. So quantum is another sunrise sector that we've been very focused on. And we're getting South Asia's first 153 qubit quantum computer coming to Amravati. But as a state, we're working very systematically. It's not just about bringing a quantum computer. We had a challenge on building the use cases for this quantum computer and using the quantum compute, to deliver results. Then we're working with the industry on, how do we get the entire training done. We have level 1, level 2, level 3 training. Starting from basic awareness to more research, startup ecosystem getting built. And then how do you create a policy to tie up all the startups together to create a meaningful outcome. So this is how we're looking at a very tight ecosystem. Only then will, these ecosystems thrive and stand the test of time.
Right. So like you rightly mentioned, if the Southeast Asia's first quantum computing system is coming to Andhra, are you somewhere envisioning that Andhra will end up leading the quantum revolution as far as Indian subcontinent is concerned, or maybe Southeast Asia?
Absolutely. No second thoughts about it. Because quantum mission has been around. The Honorable Prime Minister saw that this is the future. He's put out the mission, but then none of the states really used it. Andhra saw an opportunity and seized of it. And then we're going about it very systematically in terms of execution in Andhra Pradesh.
Right. One challenge which I have seen, at least, from a journalist point of view, if I look at it, a lot of times what happens is the states end up announcing a lot of MOUs, end up announcing a lot of meetings and all, but the conversion ratio is not very encouraging. If you look at numbers, 1 or 2, 3 years down the line, when we review the numbers, in some cases we have seen that the conversion is actually less than 50%. And that's where I think, the real challenge is. What is your vision to tackle a dilemma like this or a situation like this?
See, in the last 18 months, we've so far signed 764 projects. Some of them have MOUs, some of them don't have MOUs. So we are not very eager to sign MOUs. Our approach has been is we shake hand, then it no longer is, the entrepreneur's project, it's become a shared vision. So the shared vision between the entrepreneur and the state. So that's been our approach. That's how we're able to land projects. So 764 projects so far in the last 18 months are in different phases. And I am the chair of the group of minister to create 20 lakh jobs in 5 years. And we personally review it, and every 15 days we review each and every project to make sure that they are moving from one stage to the next stage and nothing is getting stuck due to various other challenges. It could be legal, it could be land, it could be water, it could be power, whatever it is. But all the projects have to move. Right. And that's been a very systematic approach that we've taken in Andhra Pradesh. And that's what makes Andhra Pradesh very unique. Speed of doing business. Andhra stands as a testimony to it. So companies that choose speed are choosing Andhra Pradesh.